Hello, I'm Landon with Upstate Stoneworks. We're an online retailer of granite memorials. This is one of our more popular products. This is the Granite Memorial Dine Base. We get a lot of questions on how to install these products. So today I'm going to demonstrate how to put this in and show you some tools that you'll need and just show you how easy it is. I'm going to talk about what you'll need. So obviously you're going to need a couple hand tools. Flat shovel is the main thing. You'll need that. If you don't have these other two, that's fine. Just a shovel will be good. Post hole digger as well as a pickaxe. Just depends on how dry your ground is. Sometimes it's a little tougher to dig in there than you think. 2 bags of cement. This is just 60-pound Quikrete. You can get this from any local hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's. Painter's tape. You can use that for your joint. We'll talk about that later. You don't necessarily have to do this step. It's just up to you. 4 pennies. I know that sounds crazy, but you'll need 4 pennies, and this is going to go in between your 2 pieces. This is just basically a spacer. A level. If you don't have one of these, you can download the. There's a couple apps on the iPhone, on the iOS system, or Android too, I'm sure. Just want to make sure everything's nice and level. Tape measure. Silicone. There's many different manufacturers you can get this from. This is Red Devil, and this is GE. This is a gray silicone, and this one's actually, I think this one's light gray. But the main thing you want to make sure you get is 100% silicone, so that you don't want it drying up and cracking. You want a waterproof perimeter around your die, and then an applicator. So that's all the tools you'll need. All right, now let's get started digging the hole. All right, we'll start with the foundation for the base. So before you dig your hole, you want to figure out the size of this thing. So it's 20 by 8, but it's going to be a little bit different because you got rough sides. So it's going to be a little bit longer usually. So this one is around, if you go to the edges, 22 inches long, and then you're looking at a little over 9 wide. So I would just give that a couple extra inches. So let's dig our hole 24 inches by 11 inches. I apologize for all the noise on the video. The wind was just whipping today. Anyway, what we're doing is just digging this hole 24 by 11 inches. Went down about 8 inches all the way through. And then in the center there, I'm going to dig a post hole so that we can put some dry sackcrete in there and just get it level before we put our base on top. Okay, so we've got our hole dug at 24 by 11. And I've dug down almost 8 inches. So that should be good for this base. But now we're gonna take this post hole digger and just dig a hole straight down in the center. All right, let's see what we got here. There's your hole, 24 by 11. And then in the post hole in the center, we probably went down another foot, and that's gonna be plenty. Because what we're gonna do is fill that with dry concrete. If you wanna form this concrete up, you need to add water to it. But when it's underground, the moisture in the ground will actually set it up. So let's fill it up with concrete. So you're just gonna need a little bit more than that 60 pounds actually. But if you go deeper, I mean, these are only $6, $8 a bag, so it's better to have too much than not enough. Okay, so we've dug our hole 24 by 11 and we filled in with concrete. We've used, I'd say approximately 100 pounds of concrete. And what we want to do now is just get this level. I failed to mention earlier, you're probably going to want to bring a wheelbarrow so that you can take this dirt off. Unless you can find a low spot in the cemetery, just to get it out of the way. You know, you don't want to leave a mess behind. So let's get this dry concrete nice and level, front to back, side to side, and then we can put our base on top. And you probably want to keep your concrete, I would say, 2 inches below the surface. Whenever you put this base in, you want it sticking out of the ground a little ways, and the base is 6 inches tall, so if it's a couple inches in the ground, that's fine. You got about 4 inches sticking out. Or you can just look around and kind of see what everybody else is doing in the cemetery. You can usually figure out pretty easily how high to keep it out of the ground. All right, so we got that nice and level. Let's pull this base over here and set it in our hole. All right, I'm gonna go get the level. All right, pretty close. We need to raise this side. So here you can add in concrete in your gaps in the front and then lift the stone up and then set it back down. Okay. We are perfect. Okay. Okay. Now that your base is level, this is where the pennies come in. You need to get the silicone, get it ready, and get your pennies out. Okay, I've got my silicone ready. I've got my pennies. And so what you want to do is just get a little bit of this silicone and put it on a penny. I mean, you don't need, maybe pea-sized. You want to put that under each corner of your die. So just a little bit of silicone on there so that the penny will stick to the die. All right, let's get this base nice and clean. Just wipe it off so you don't have any dirt on there. And now you can go right in the center here. I mean, just all over the center with a generous bead of silicone. Keep it in the center so that whenever you set that die down, it doesn't mash the silicone out past the edges of the die. So that should be plenty. Now we're going to set the die up. Oops, we put too much in there. If you put too much like I just did, wipe it off. See, the gray color of the silicone matches the dye and the color of the rock well, so that's why we wanted to use that. Okay, got all that off, no problem. So now let's see if we're centered. So I've got 3 inches on this side, 3 inches on that side. That's perfect. It's 2 1/8. So we've got the stone centered. We've got silicone under it. We've got 100 pounds of concrete under there, and it's completely level. Could also check our level after we put it up, just to make sure we're still in there. That's perfect. Okay, so now what we need to do is take some of this dirt that we dug our hole out with, and we'll fill in these gaps some, just very carefully. Try not to get it all over the rock so it doesn't stain it, but we'll fill in that hole. All right, so the last part of doing this, and this is optional, you don't have to do it. Once the silicone dries, the stone's not going anywhere. And we've got the concrete under there, so it's set in place, it's level. But we also like to take some painter's tape and create a joint all around this perimeter and fill it in with silicone. That way it's watertight and the water can get under there. Just in case it were to get under there and freeze, try and lift up the stone. That won't happen. I apologize for the wind, guys. Kind of a windy day out here trying to do this. And you're going to want to get that as close as you can get it to the edge. You just want to create a small gap for the silicone feed. To the top. Okay, let me zoom in so you guys can see what we did here. Okay, so we just got a small gap all the way around. We're going to go in with silicone, fill that in, and then pull our just line your tube of silicone up right here. And this tape's going to protect you from getting it everywhere like I did to start with. But just barely press your applicator. You can go all the way around. So we got plenty of silicone in there. So now we're just going to take our finger get that excess off. It's like something. All right, so we've got all of our excess off, and now we're just going to pull our tape. Start with the top since you put it on last. Okay. And then we've got a nice bit of silicone, clean bit of silicone all the way around. We've got 100 pounds of concrete under here. Got our pennies as spacers. It's nice and level. We've got a post hole in the center to keep it from moving left to right or front to back over time. That way it doesn't lean in the cemetery. So this is done. I hope this helped you guys a lot, and we appreciate your business. Hope you have a good day.